You've saved up your money. You're finally ready to upgrade that ancient TV in your living room. And you walk into the store feeling confident. But then you see it. Row after row of gleaming displays, each one screaming about being revolutionary, game-changing, award-winning. The salesperson approaches with a smile that says commission, and suddenly you're drowning in technical jargon. Mini LED, QLED, old quantum dots, AI upscaling, cinema mode, game mode, filmmaker mode. And here's what makes it worse. They all look amazing in the store. Under those perfect lights, with those perfectly calibrated settings, even a mediocre TV can look like $1 million. But what happens 6 months later when you're staring at a flickering screen at midnight? Desperately Googling, "Why won't my TV connect to Wi-Fi?" for the 15th time. What happens when customer support puts you on hold for 40 minutes just to tell you your warranty expired 3 days ago? That's the conversation nobody's having. So today, we're ranking 12 major TV brands based on what actually matters: long-term reliability, real customer experiences, failure rates, and whether these companies actually stand behind their products when things go wrong. And I'm warning you right now, some of your favorite budget-friendly brands are about to look a whole lot less friendly. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up to the brands that actually deserve your hard-earned cash. Number 12. Westinghouse. Yes, Westinghouse. That name your grandparents trusted. That legacy American brand that used to mean quality and innovation. Well, I've got news for you. That Westinghouse is long gone. What you're buying now is basically a ghost wearing a trusted name. The brand was sold off, licensed out, and now it mostly exists to move cheap panels through warehouse stores. You know those too good to be true deals? 65 inches for under $300. That's Westinghouse's entire business model now. The problem is, these TVs are built with whatever components are cheapest that week. Outdated processors, bargain bin panels, and software that feels like it was coded during a lunch break. Customer reviews across major retailers consistently rate Westinghouse as having some of the highest return rates in the industry. People buy them because they're cheap, then return them because they're cheap. One verified buyer put it perfectly. It worked great for 3 months, then started randomly shutting off. Customer service told me it was probably my power outlet. It wasn't. The verdict: a once-respected name that's now just bait for bargain hunters who'll regret it later. Number 11. Scepter. Here's where things get interesting, because Scepter actually has defenders. Real people who bought their TVs and genuinely like them. And I get it. When you're on a tight budget and you need a big screen, Scepter seems like a steal. But here's what those defenders usually aren't telling you. They don't use their TV very much. It's in a guest room or a garage, or it's basically just for background noise. Because the moment you actually try to use a Scepter TV as your main display, the cracks start showing. The motion handling is rough. Sports look like they're playing at 15 frames per second. Dark scenes turn into murky blobs where you can't distinguish anything. And the smart features. Let's just say if you value your sanity, you'll want to plug in a Roku or Fire Stick immediately, because Scepter's built-in interface is an exercise in frustration. Data from multiple retailer platforms shows return rates consistently above 14%, which is nearly double the industry standard. That's not a red flag. That's a whole parade of red flags. The verdict? Fine for a bedroom TV you barely watch. Terrible for anything else. Number 10. Element is the TV equivalent of fast fashion. Looks okay in the moment, falls apart quickly, and leaves you wishing you'd invested in quality from the start. These TVs populate the walls of discount retailers, promising big screens at tiny prices. And they deliver on that promise. Technically, you will get a big screen. It will be cheap. But what they don't advertise is how that screen will develop dead pixels within a year. Or how the Wi-Fi will drop every 20 minutes. Or how the speakers sound like someone speaking through a tin can from 3 rooms away. Consumer advocacy data consistently ranks Element among the lowest for reliability in its category. We're talking failure rates that should honestly be embarrassing for any company to ship. But they keep making them, and people keep buying them, and the cycle continues. Here's a real comment from a frustrated buyer. I bought this TV for my daughter's room. It lasted 14 months before the screen just went black. Element told me that's normal wear and tear. For a 14-month-old TV, the verdict? You're not saving money if you have to replace it twice as often. Number 9. Vizio. Now we're getting into controversial territory because Vizio used to be the smart person's choice. Back in the mid-2010s, Vizio was crushing it. Great picture quality for the price, decent reliability, and people genuinely recommended them. But something changed. Maybe it was the rapid expansion. Maybe it was cutting corners to compete with even cheaper brands. But Vizio in 2025 is not the Vizio of 2015. The picture quality is still decent. I'll give them that. But everything else has become a gamble. The software is notoriously buggy. Apps crash constantly. The interface freezes at the worst possible moments, usually right when you've settled in with snacks to watch something. And don't even get me started on the remote responsiveness issues that plague their newer models. Consumer Reports actually pulled their recommendation status for Vizio, citing reliability concerns that put their predicted failure rate around 18 to 20% within 5 years. That's nearly 1 in 5 TVs having serious issues before they hit their 5th birthday. The verdict? A brand that peaked years ago and has been coasting on reputation ever since. Number 8. Hisense. Hisense is the brand everyone wants to love. The underdog story, the budget option that actually has impressive specs. And on paper, they look fantastic. Modern features, bright displays, and prices that make Samsung and LG look greedy. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Build quality and long-term reliability haven't caught up to the marketing hype. According to recent consumer data, roughly 19 to 20% of Hisense TVs develop significant issues within 5 years. We're talking panel problems, connectivity failures, mysterious software glitches that no amount of factory resetting can fix. The first year, usually, great. People rave about the value. But talk to those same people 2 or 3 years later, and the tone changes. The brightness starts dimming. Wi-Fi becomes spotty. Customer support becomes a frustrating loop of automated responses and troubleshooting steps that lead nowhere. The verdict? Impressive first impression, risky long-term investment. Number 7. TCL. This one genuinely pains me because TCL makes some legitimately excellent TVs. Their high-end models compete directly with premium brands at a fraction of the cost. The problem is, we're ranking the brand as a whole, and TCL's lineup is wildly inconsistent. Their budget models suffer from poor quality control, uneven backlighting, and motion handling that makes action scenes look choppy. But then you jump up to their mid-range or flagship series, and suddenly you're getting performance that rivals TVs costing twice as much. It's like TCL is 2 different companies operating under the same name. One makes incredible value propositions for people who do their research. The other churns out cheap panels that happen to have the same logo. Recent reliability data shows TCL improving compared to brands like Vizio and Hisense, but they're still inconsistent enough that buying one feels like playing the lottery. You might get a gem that lasts a decade, or you might get a dud that develops bright spots within 6 months. The verdict? If you're buying TCL, do your homework and stick to their premium lines. Number 6. Philips. Philips confuses people, and honestly, I get why. The name carries weight. European design, legacy reputation, those stunning Ambilight features that make your wall glow with colors matching what's on screen. But here's what most Americans don't realize. The Philips TVs sold in the US aren't actually made by Philips anymore. The brand was licensed out years ago, which means quality control varies dramatically depending on which licensed manufacturer produced your specific model. Some Philips TVs are genuinely impressive. Others are middling at best. The smart TV interface tends to be sluggish, customer support is hit or miss, and availability is spotty. You might find a great model one year, then discover it's been discontinued with no clear replacement. Reliability ratings put Philips in the middle of the pack. Better than the budget brands we've covered so far, but noticeably behind the premium tier. They're also often overpriced for what you're actually getting. The verdict: beautiful design language, inconsistent execution, and a confusing product lineup. Number 5. Panasonic. If you owned a Panasonic plasma TV back in the day, you know these things were built like tanks. Credible picture quality that held up for 10, 15, even 20 years. People still mourn the death of plasma technology, and Panasonic was the king of that era. But the modern TV market has been brutal to Panasonic. Their presence in North America has shrunk dramatically. Finding their models in stores is increasingly difficult, and when you do find them, they're often priced higher than comparable options from Samsung or LG. The TVs themselves are still well built. Panasonic's engineering quality hasn't disappeared. If pure reliability was the only metric, they'd rank in the top 3 easily. But in 2025, you also need smart features, app support, gaming performance, and competitive pricing. That's where Panasonic struggles. They're building TVs for a market that no longer exists, stubbornly refusing to adapt to what consumers actually want. It's admirable in a way, but also frustrating. The verdict: rock-solid reliability from a brand that's slowly fading from relevance. Number 4. Sharp. Sharp is a redemption story. This brand was practically dead in the water just a few years ago, making forgettable TVs that nobody really wanted. But they've quietly been rebuilding, and the results are surprisingly solid. Their current Aquos lineup offers respectable performance. Good reliability ratings with failure rates around 12% over 5 years. And pricing that's competitive with mid-range options from bigger names. They're not going to blow your mind with cutting-edge features, but they're competent, stable, and increasingly worthy of consideration. The main drawback is that Sharp still feels a generation behind in software and interface design. The menus are functional but dated. App selection is limited compared to brands using Google TV or Roku. Updates come slowly, if at all. But if you prioritize a TV that just works, that isn't trying to be smarter than it needs to be, Sharp has become a surprisingly reliable choice. The verdict: a brand finding its footing again with solid fundamentals. Now, before we get to the top 3, let's talk about something crucial. All these brands we've covered so far share a common weakness: inconsistent long-term support. They'll launch a TV, market it aggressively, then basically ghost it after a year. No meaningful software updates, no security patches, no improvements to app compatibility. Your TV is essentially a computer now. It needs ongoing support to remain functional as streaming services evolve, security threats emerge, and technology standards change. That's where the top-tier brands separate themselves from the pack. Samsung, LG, and Sony still push meaningful updates to models that launched 3 or 4 years ago. They invest in their ecosystems, they maintain app partnerships, and they treat customer support as an ongoing commitment rather than an afterthought. That matters more than any spec sheet or showroom display. Number 3. Sony. Sony doesn't just make TVs, they make televisions with all the weight and intentionality that word implies. When you watch content on a Sony display, you're seeing it as creators intended. Because Sony owns the entire pipeline from camera to screen. Their reliability numbers back up the premium positioning. According to multiple industry sources, Sony has one of the lowest failure rates in the entire market, around 10 to 11% within 5 years. Their OLEDs and premium LCDs deliver exceptional picture quality with color accuracy that makes them the reference choice for content professionals. The processing is where Sony really shines. Their upscaling technology makes lower resolution content look shockingly good. Motion handling is best in class, which is why serious gamers and sports fans gravitate toward Sony. The catch, and it's a significant one, is price. Sony makes no apologies for charging premium prices. You're paying for the engineering, the quality control, the brand legacy, and the peace of mind that comes with knowing this TV will probably outlast your next two cars. The verdict: the perfectionist's choice for those who value quality over value. Number 2. LG. LG doesn't just compete in the old space, they own it. They literally manufacture the panels that other brands, including Sony, use in their old TVs. When you buy an OLED from almost any manufacturer, there's a good chance the actual panel came from LG. Their latest generation of displays has addressed the biggest historical concern with old technology: burn-in. Through improved panel technology and intelligent software protection, LG has reduced burn-in risk by approximately 90% compared to earlier generations. The WebOS smart platform is fast, intuitive, and genuinely pleasant to use. LG has also become a leader in smart home integration, with their TVs serving as central hubs for connected devices throughout your home. Customer satisfaction ratings put LG near the top of the industry. With reliability numbers that rival Sony, they've earned their position through consistent innovation and attention to both performance and user experience. The verdict: the innovation leader with the technology and track record to back it up. Number 1. Samsung. Every year, people ask if Samsung can maintain their dominance. Every year, they answer by somehow raising the bar even higher. Their 2025 lineup demonstrates why they're the market leader. The Neo QLED technology delivers brightness and contrast that has to be seen to be believed. Their new OLED offerings finally give LG serious competition in that space. And across their entire range, from budget to flagship, the consistency is remarkable. Here's what really sets Samsung apart: failure rates around 9% within 5 years based on multiple consumer research sources. That's lower than Sony in some markets, dramatically lower than mid-tier brands, and it's consistent across their product line. Whether you spend $500 or $5,000, you're getting Samsung's commitment to quality control. Their Tizen operating system has evolved from a clunky mess into one of the smoothest, most customizable smart TV platforms available. Gaming performance is exceptional, with features that make dedicated gaming monitors increasingly unnecessary. Customer satisfaction ratings exceed 91%, among the highest in consumer electronics. Samsung isn't perfect. They still stubbornly refuse to support Dolby Vision, which is frustrating for enthusiasts. But their HDR10 Plus implementation has improved to the point where most people can't tell the difference in real-world viewing. The verdict: the complete package combining cutting-edge technology, proven reliability, and comprehensive support. Here's the final ranking for 2025. 12. Westinghouse 11, Scepter 10, Element 9, Vizio 8, Hisense 7, TCL 6, Philips 5, Panasonic 4, Sharp 3, Sony 2, LG 1. Samsung